Welcome to For the Fans, guys. I'm Kevin. I'm here with Sheldon and Rye, and
Hello.
we're here to talk about Survivor
Oh,
46,
oh,
episode 3.
Several.
It's 40 several. You're right, not 46, 40 several.
I don't want to say 40 several. I don't want to give him respect. So, no, it's 47.
Why? Jelinski, my guy.
No, don't give a crap.
That's my dude. Sheldon, you didn't hear when I went to the premiere party down in Phoenix.
Yeah.
My boy Jelinski sat down right up next to me, and we watched the first hour, just like chilling and talking about the show. Then the second hour, he left at the bar, like we're all sitting at the bar, and then Rome pulled up, and me and Rome just chit chatted the whole time. That was my boys. Those are my boys.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect my boy Jelinski.
Listen, first of all, I don't care for Jelinski. I also don't care for Phoenix. They no longer have a hockey team. So move on.
Okay, but they don't have ice. Who cares that they don't have a hockey team?
They don't have ice anyway. Well, Sheldon, good to see you. Good to see you, Rye. As you know, this
Who's
is the
Rye?
best season. Rye is right down here. Rye, the best season ever is this one because Teeny's on it. We know.
Yeah, and Teeny is the greatest Survivor player of all time.
All time, top tier.
She's the new
And
No, series doesn't even compare. Teeny's up here.
Wow.
So as we know, we're here to break down the top 4 things that happened this episode. Sheldon, this is our first time seeing you this season.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying the season so far?
You want the truth?
Yeah, of course. I always want the truth.
Honestly, it feels like kind of average to below average season so far. I don't really see any players that I'm madly in love with, that I think are brilliant, that I think are exciting. It's been average.
Except for Teeny, of course.
I don't know. Listen, I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sure she's lovely, and I'm sure she's going to show us brilliance. But she seems like she's a good player. Fine. She seems very self-aware, which I like. I like that,
Yes.
and I think she's a great storyteller. What I will say that I have liked is that I have yet to feel uncomfortable watching Survivor this season, as I have the last few seasons with people that I think may have been exploited for their behavior on the show. So I'm happy we do not have that again. However, best season yet, still too early to tell. I think it's fine. I think it's good gameplay. Not in awe, not excited, not unexcited, just am.
Okay. Ryan, what are your thoughts so far? We had you last week. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so I'll say it again. This is the greatest season of all time.
Yeah, of course,
and I'm not just saying this because Teeny is on it. I think we're seeing something that we haven't seen too often in the new era. Every single tribe has been to tribal council. We're getting to see every single tribe play, and they're all playing hard. You're seeing people making moves, making tough decisions, cutting out close friends, and it's only the 3rd round. So I can't wait to see everything turn on its head over and over and over again as this game goes. I think we're going to have a dynamic and very fluid gameplay throughout this entire season. That's what we're seeing.
I must admit, I agree, Ryan, because of that, but I really hope we get a swap this season. I really hope we get a swap.
I have to say, you're very right. For the first time in what feels like years, they have the tribes equally balanced physically. Therefore, no one's able to really just dominate the physicality of it, which is really to a positive effect, because we've now seen all 3 tribes go to tribal after this episode. Someone's the first boot in every episode, in every tribe, and we got that before the merge. This past couple seasons, we haven't really been getting to know tribes until the merge or the mergatory, because they just dominated and never lost. And in this situation, we had things that pretty much neutralized everybody. With that, we also get a lot of conflict, right? And we're able to see what's the conflict going on. So that leads us to our very first point here on For the Fans, which is Royal Rumble. In this episode, we got to see 3 distinct fights, right? 3 distinct people explaining why X person gets on their nerves, and seeing as they did it. In the yellow tribe, I don't have the name of the tribes with me. I know that red is lava. That's the only thing I know.
Gotta for yellow.
Yeah, you gotta.
Gotta.
So on the Gata tribe,
You gotta remember that one.
well, on the Gata tribe, we have Sam and Anika getting into it. On the what's the blue tribe?
Oh, I don't know that one.
What's
this new tribe?
On the blue tribe, we
Blue
have
Lavo.
Lava's the red one.
Like
Lava's
lava.
the red one. I know that one. Yeah. On the blue tribe, we have Sue and Kyle getting into it, but Kyle, I don't know that he knows he's in a fight.
Oh, it's intense.
Yeah, it's a very intense fight. It's a one-sided fight. And then we have on the Lava tribe, Rome and Asia just not getting along. Rome and Asia just don't.
Blue is Tuku.
So the Tuku tribe, yeah, Sue and Kyle. What did you guys think of being able to see 3 distinct fights and seeing how they contrasted with what's going on out there? And also, do you think these were all on day 6?
Oh,
5, 6,
great.
whatever.
Yeah.
Look, and I do believe that a lot of this has to do with the fact that they don't have food. They don't have rice. I think that we are seeing these sort of social incompetencies and mistakes that they are making in their behavior because they are less comfortable than they were before. I have to say, if Anika was there with me or Anika was there with me, I would be just as upset as Sam was. She would annoy the living shit out of me. I would probably tell her to shut up and be voted out. It would be a problem. Sue, I think Sue is so loyal to Gabe that I don't see that she doesn't actually see the benefit of keeping Kyle on her side, because Kyle might be an easy vote for her. Kyle might be somebody that could actually work for her, and he is going to be trustworthy to whomever is actually going to work with him. So I think it's so silly of her from a long-term perspective to do this. And on the red tribe, Rome is fun. It's like I don't want to watch him, but I kind of want to watch him, and I want to see him get more pissed and more angry and not share his fish. I want more. Give me more. Give me more Rome.
My favorite part about angry Rome is every time he's upset, he turns it into like a joke that only he finds is funny. Like, oh, I'm mad at Asia, so I'm going to eat the fish, and then I'm going to like spit it behind her back and go nom 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 because she's pissing me off. So he like takes something and then says, how can I make this annoy the person that I am mad at right now? And how do I take it farther than it needs to go? And I love it.
See, the watching the 3 tribes, starting with Lava, the Asia, there's I feel like there's 3 very distinct types of fights that we're watching here, right? And they're all different, which is kind of cool. So on the Lava tribe, we have 2 people that actively don't like each other and know that they don't like each other, right? Asia annoys Rome. Rome annoys Asia. I do, love Rome. I do side with Asia here because Rome is constantly talking about the things that Rome can do, and then either comes up a little short or can't do it at all. And he's going a mile a minute and he's talking all the time, and that's tough. And I said here on this pod that his energy, when we did the draft with Kylie and Robbie, I said the energy is going to be a little much. Rome was here in the chat, Sheldon. I don't know if you knew. Rome was here in the chat, and I said to his face, man, it was going to be the energy is going to be a lot. And then, sure enough, the energy is a lot.
What did he say?
He laughed because he said, "Hey, man, it is what it is. You got to play hard." And for Asia, she's not having it, right? So you see that kind of interaction. On her exit interview today, she said on her exit interview with Rob at the podcast, she told Rob that Rome wants to be provider, but he wasn't really provided, and that was the big problem, is that he wants to have that role. So when he was like, "Who's doing this fire?" It was like, I mean, we'll get around to it, because like, what are you bringing? You're bringing fish to the size, man. Like, this is not that big of a deal. and like no one else can use the Hawaiian sling. But in turn, for Rome, Asia was just annoying as hell since the moment she came back.
I don't get that though. Like, what is it about like? I feel like if Asia would be there, I'd want to align with her right away. Like, what's annoying to Rome about Asia?
I think it's very simple actually. I mean, it may not be anything at all, but if I'm linked up with Gabriella, what's her name? The girl that's Genevieve. If I'm linked up with Genevieve, right? He's paired with Genevieve. And then I look over and Teeny and Kishan are a pair, and I want to work with them. There's people we have to have on the outs. And that instantly puts Saul and Asia on the outs. I think also while Asia is and Saul are like watching him with his antics, I don't think that they even give him the lip service of like acting like they're cool with whatever he's doing, right? Because we see a little bit later in the episode when Saul's sitting down with them, he's like, so how do I know everything you're telling me here is not just an elaborate ruse by you? Would you never see someone call that out? But that's exactly what it was, because he's like, listen, man, I don't believe a thing you're a snake oil salesman, and I don't believe a thing you're selling. So you see that fight. So that's a classic don't like each other fight, right? We then go over to the Tuku tribe, where Sue is mainly mad that, and this is the funniest thing to me, right? Sue is mainly mad because he voted for her.
Yeah.
And she said, like, oh, I'm not of value. And it's like, it's not necessarily that you're not of value. I had to vote for somebody, and that was the plan.
And then we're not an alliance. So
correct.
We're not working together, then there's that.
Correct. So I think it's just really funny that she took it so personally, but because she took it so personally, she doesn't seem to have any interest in working with him whatsoever.
But I think that's fine though. Like, if I'm Sue, my core 3 is going to be Caroline and Gabe. Like, part of being a good alliance member is showing your alliance members, hey, I'm with you. So if she's staying surrounding Caroline, hey, this is my group, I'm loyal with them. Even when I'm given other options, I'm with you guys. That can be part of good gameplay. Not necessarily the gameplay I would use, but it's a valid strategy.
I wouldn't do it, but you know.
No, but you wouldn't do it because you don't want to close doors. Like, right. It's way too early in the game to basically say you are my enemy. Like, that's a later thing. Like, anything could happen. Only 2 other people have left. You might need his vote. So I don't know. I just think it's so silly and short-sighted by her.
I don't know. Free vote, free person to throw under the bus later. Those seem equally valuable to me.
Well, like, it's tough though, because it feels like Gabe. So like we talked about before, and we talked about it last week, right, when you were here. Kyle seems like just a genuinely good person, and people seem to like him. So like Gabe and Caroline are like, Kyle's pretty cool, and Sue's like, he's dead to me. Like, Sue, I don't really know if we should be like that far on it. And she's like, no, he's never Kyle. I can't let him get. She literally said in this episode, I can't let him get away with that. It's like, get away with like having written your name down on the first vote on day 3. Like, that's a little much.
It's not like he thought he was doing it alone. So.
Right.
I'm interested in your takes. Is Gabe as good as he thinks he is?
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because he thinks he's real sneaky. He has Sue bought in. Caroline's not even bought in. You have Kyle and Tiana have already sussed them out. If you're as good as he thinks he is, I think you're more stealth. You're not as easily figured out. He's too shifty, right? They realize he's too shifty. You can't be caught being this shifty this early. We're at day 7 on this third vote out.
But Boston Rob did it.
Boston Rob also played in the Marquesa.
True. Like, I'm not obviously comparing him to Boston Rob. Like, not doing that. But I wonder if there is a way to play the game as the evil one, as the shifty one, as the mischievous one. I feel like Ryan, you would go and play that game.
First of all, ouch, how could you say such a thing about me? But also, if you're a snake for someone else, that is valuable. You can have somebody who's going to do your dirty work for you. So there can be value in being that member in an alliance. And Gabe is showing that he wants to be loyal to what he's calling his wounded bird alliance, which I think is hilarious. Do I think he has too much of an ego? Yes. Do I think that's a problem for him? Not necessarily. He's built a loyal alliance, and later down the line, it makes sense to say, hey, I have a visible game, so that's something I can preach to the jury as opposed to my alliance members whose games might not be as visible as mine. Does it make you more of a target? Yes, but it can also help you out in other ways too. I don't think it's necessarily a sink or swim scenario.
I personally, I don't know what the right answer is. I agree with both of you in truth, so I don't actually know. I can't wait to see if he is actually as good as he thinks he is, because I don't think we've had a real sort of fun, mischievous power player do well, at least in the new era. Like it hasn't existed. So it would be nice to see a new prototype of evil win in Survivor. It would just be fun.
So I actually have the opposite stance. I hope that he's not as good as he thinks he is, but he stays in a while and thinks he's really good the entire time, because I think it would be really funny.
Okay.
I got them wrapped all around my finger, and then everyone's like, dude, we see what you're doing.
I think it's interesting because I think it's interesting because Gabe's strategy, like I said, being sussed out so early, it allowed Kyle to like try to enlighten Sue and Caroline. Now, Sue wasn't hearing it, didn't care a thing this man was saying, which I felt like was an extreme response.
Yeah.
But it's why I say I don't know that this kind of villain works. This not even a villain, but like this kind of behavior works anymore, because everybody's hyper aware of what people are doing at this point. And then that leads us to the Gada tribe, which had Anika, I'm not sure which one it is. Anika and Sam like sparring about
you never had watermelon? No pineapple?
By the way, what's wrong with people? You need to eat your watermelon. You need to eat they're the best.
No, you forget that fruits and vegetables are poisonous.
What are you talking about?
Foods only.
Stop it. No, like it's better than candy. Like those are the best foods. Crazy man.
Well, have all these things that he doesn't eat, right? So she comes at him for that. But then the shelter situation, right? The telling him how to put the shelter, the clothesline. It was all like little menial things, but Anika is the boss, and Sam being the muscle needs to fall in line. Now, I did love seeing Andy in the back being like, okay, well, this might be good for me. I might be able to do something with this.
Yeah.
Because Andy was obviously very much on the outs.
Yeah, but he is 100% on the outs. But look, at least he's thinking strategically. At least he's trying to salvage something from his horrific start in the game. I have to say, I was kind of hoping Sam would cut off Anika's fingers with that machete.
I'm actually Team Anika on this one.
Of course you are.
My hot take is I think the world needs more smartasses. Dumbasses, no, but smartasses, yes. Like,
she's rude. She's disrespectful. She's a know-it-all. No.
She's also right. She was like, tie it this way, it'll be better. And he was like, no, but it was better. And she was like, cut it this way, it's better. And he was like, no. And then he tried it and did it in 2 seconds. Like, yes, Sam is mad that she's telling him to do this stuff, but if he did it right the first time, then they wouldn't drag out the debate. So,
Ryan, you are so like, this is how people like get divorced. Like, no, you don't need a smart ass. You need a heart. You need the ability to relate to people. You need the ability to talk to people. This is abrasive and uncollaborative. No.
Let's agree to disagree on this.
I am with Sheldon here.
Of course he is.
Sam is being categorized as like basically the strength of the tribe, because he's the man and the typical male in the gender roles, and that's how this tribe seems to have taken. shape that this tribe seems to have taken. And with those gender roles, we're expecting him to like do all like basically the manual labor, but Anika is just barking out orders as if they're a married couple and Sam is just supposed to do what his wife says.
But his wife is clearly Sierra. Duh.
That's his girlfriend.
Everybody
His
can see that they're in a couple. Every single person.
Well, it's funny.
What do you mean by Sam is the strength? Andy is like a strong dude. Like,
no, the strength around camp.
But I think Andy could be the strength around camp.
Have you watched Andy try to open that coconut?
He's pretty, he's got a nice body. I looked.
Andy has had multiple issues, if you will, with the way the tribe has gone. So I don't think that they're like asking Andy to do much of anything.
Because when he does, they have to cheer. So
I think it's real funny that he has such a problem with Anika when John offered an olive branch on episode 1. John said, we can get rid of her right now. Like, she could be gone. And they're like, nah, we're going to go with this. And now Sam's like, I wish I had taken John up on that offer.
Yeah, but Sam wasn't the only person making the decision. Rachel and Sierra were also in that. And they have like a side alliance, all girls alliance together. Is it Sierra's number 1 alliance? No, but she's still in it. She probably wouldn't want to burn that bridge with multiple people day one.
Correct. No, I understand. What I'm saying is that it was just funny that Sam's like, man, maybe we should have got rid of Anika because I do not like this girl and her bossy tones. But it's really funny because all of this led to the time to go to the journey. And they all had different ways of picking people for the journey. But that led us to the journey to the center of no votes. Because on this journey, everyone utilized in the pick'em or in the fights was in the pick'em of the journey. And I think that was some clever editing for them to be able to show all these fights and then them all go and have something like that was at stake. So we have Anika going, we have Kyle going, and Rome and Saul come down to a rock, paper, scissors situation, and Rome wins, and Rome is on his way to the journey. If you guys are out there, do y'all want Rome going on this journey?
No! They know he has an idol. They don't want to give him more power, more ego. He's already cutting fish behind Aisha and throwing it on her back while he eats it. No!
Okay, but Rome is taking the audience on a journey with him, and I am ready to go wherever this journey goes.
No, the question wasn't what do you want to see as a viewer? Yeah, of course I want to see Rome go. Hells yeah, it's fun entertainment. But the question was, as a gamer, you're on that island. You got to do whatever you can do to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. He's got enough.
Yeah, but how do you do that on your tribe without saying, "Hey, Rome, I do not want specifically you to go"? Like, how do you hold that together at camp? Like, there's sort of an awkward social pressure to let the person who wants to go because you don't want to give away that you don't want the person to go.
No, I really, really want to go.
And I did. Well, that's the thing, though. According to Asia, she bowed out because she assumed that they already assumed that she had gotten something when she went to the rice.
Mm-hmm.
So, are the supplies? So she said, "Hey, I'm out." So the 5 of them did some kind of tournament, and then it got down to Soul and Rome, and that's what we saw. Now, Asia said,
rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, something like that. It was like 5, something like that. Now, they had some kind of elimination tournament. Now, the thing that was interesting was that Asia said that the vote out before they had done a 5-person tournament, and Soul beat Rome for the second vote out. So they thought they might be going on a journey then. Well, after the journey didn't happen, when this journey came up,
they were just like, Soul,
no. They were like, Asia was like, so Soul's going, and Rome's like, no. We need to figure it out. And Asia was like, we already did Soul's going, and Rome was like, no, that was for last time. It didn't happen. We got to start over. And so
Yikes.
he bogarted his way in there, making sure it happened again.
Yeah, and why did anybody else do it back?
Well, they did the tournament. They did it again. I don't know why no one was like, nope, we already did it. We're doing what we already did.
But this is to the credit, I have to say, of Rome.
Yes.
Because and the move was simple. He shared the fact that he has an idol. Period, full stop. If he didn't share that with the right people, he wouldn't have had as much power and as much leeway. Because he said that, then Keyshawn and Teeny couldn't go and say, oh no, Rome, you shouldn't go. No, they're happy with him to go because they trust him. They need him right now. He has made himself indispensable at this point, all by making a social move.
Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
I think Kylie's in the chat. What did you say? What did Rome do to get this power?
Rome decided to tell people about his idol.
Clearly, he told the right person because it was Teeny.
Yeah, look, and Kylie would say, "You keep that information to yourself." My personal rule is simple: at the beginning of the game, you tell people. At the end, you shut your mouth.
But I believe we've been on this very show over the last several seasons, and you've both told me that hold on, Sheldon. I believe you have been a part of this that has said you never tell the information.
I've always believed the following: you tell at the beginning to create relationships. You shut your mouth post-merge.
For me, my take on it, it depends on where you are sort of in the social ranking. If you're at the top, then you should never tell anybody because you don't want to give somebody an additional reason to target you. If you're on the bottom and people are already targeting you, give them a reason to be afraid to vote for you. So that's when you should tell people if you're maybe not as in good graces as you could. And that's where Rome was. So here in this particular case, it's good for him. Did Teeny immediately go tell someone else? Yes. But did it work out for him? Yes.
Do you think Rome is self-aware? Like, do you think Rome knows the impact he has on people and what people actually think about him? Because truth is, I think he made the smart move strategically, but I don't think he understands how bad his situation would be if he didn't make that move.
I know for a fact that Rome did not know how bad his situation was. Because when I went out to Phoenix, I went to go to Rome's premiere party, and Rome was sitting next to me. And when Rome was falling into the well trying to dig out the thing, and he saw them five like looking at him, he was like watching intently. And then I said, "They're all looking for you." And he said to me, "I didn't know that happened." I said, "This doesn't look good for you." And he's like, "Dang, I didn't know that they were coming for me that early." And I said, "Yes, as you see, that wasn't a good look. They see you pouring the water on everything." I said, "How many pieces of wood did you pour water on?" He said, "Every single one I could see, Kev." And I said, that's hilarious. Did you know they saw you? Nah, I didn't realize that they saw. I thought I was slicker. We're watching them watch you.
Asia even commented what she's searching for while he was doing it.
Right. He thought he was slicker than that.
I think Rome is a strategically smart player. I don't think he's very socially savvy. And I think it's like social game is out the window, non-existent. But that can be okay if you can have people who can be that social game for you.
Right.
So is Genevieve that person? I have no idea. All I know about her is that she's aligned with Rome.
Yes. They arrive. Getting back to the journey, they go to the journey, and immediately Rome tries to deflect, which I thought that was a great idea. Tries to deflect any kind of blame and says, "Asia and Soul are running this tribe. I don't know what to do." So that way, he could try to cast doubt and aspersions on them. I thought that was a good game move. The hard part is that after the vote, to me, it's going to be a little hard to explain how the two people running the tribe, one of them went home.
Well, he said that thing that he found an idol on the thingy-majiggy, which that's not how he got it, but he could just make up that story and
no,
hey,
I'm not.
For me. So
I'm not talking about
idol and I went home.
Right. So that's going to be interesting to have to parse when Teeny or Keyshawn or someone else goes and they chat with Anika, and Anika's like, "So what happened? I thought they were running. It's a good job getting them." And he's like, "Nah, I mean, they had ideas." It's hard to explain how someone running the tribe went home, because they obviously weren't running the tribe. So how much were you lying to me?
It is a really hard part of Survivor, because they are still in tribes. They are still together. They haven't swapped. They haven't merged. And you want to leverage those times to build relationships. I don't know if you should be leveraging those times unless you are seriously at the bottom to share a lot of information. Like I think that you have to be really careful in your standings where you are in the game in sharing what you should share, because the truth is the rest of them didn't share that much. Like, it's not
we
like
at least didn't see them. We at least didn't see them share that much.
True.
I assume they're like asked how the TK go home. I'm sure Kyle's like, it was a blind side. I voted for Sue. Everyone else voted for TK. I was with TK. I don't know what happened. Because that's a great story to tell, because you're saying I'm on the bottom and I'm looking to work with somebody if I get an opportunity.
Yep.
For Anika, they're like, how did John go home? And you're like, well, you saw what happened with Andy on the mat. We just figure we can get rid of Andy at any time.
Yeah. And then with Anika, though, they also walked up there and said, so Sierra Sam, they're dating, right? Like, the fact that people on other tribes came up and said that, like, how obvious can you make it that you're working to each other within the 5 minutes that they see you in between challenges on the mat, so they can say, yep, those two are a pair?
But let's be real. It's not 5 minutes. It's not 5 minutes, right?
Hours.
Yeah. And so, like, if you're watching, like, I would ask if people were dating, not because of the 5 minutes, but if they like have a very obvious rapport, and if they like are laughing together, and even like when you guys are like strategizing, and if I'm out there, I'm watching everything, right? I'm looking at everything. So if I'm looking over at you guys strategizing over there, and those two are like goofing off in the back, they're giving off vibes that they're like a little flirty. It's probably nothing too serious. Like Sierra said, Sam's married. She has a partner at home. Better be getting engaged when she gets home, she said. Like they probably don't have that much of that kind of vibe, but they probably had one that was distinct, that they
yeah, look, I completely agree. What I don't necessarily understand is how they go from, you have these two people who clearly get along with each other to their dating. It's day 7. Like, what is dating?
Oh, like, so this is one thing I think is super important. When I feel like when you're on the other tribes, you're just making up stories to yourself about the other people because you don't know them.
100%, but it's just dumb. Like, you don't just, like, 7 days in, you think they're doing okay, fine, they're kissing maybe, but like dating, like that's a.
I think that they were saying that they came in as a dating couple.
I
don't think that. I think asking, hey, are these two people dating, is a nice way to play off the question as if it's a joke. Because if I go up and say, hey, Sheldon, you're like super close to like Kevin, right? You're like, he's analyzing that strategy. But if I go, hey, Sheldon, you and Kevin are dating, right? That's like,
I am the other man in Kevin's life. Hey, Kevin, I'm coming to Vegas.
So it's. I think you're right, Ryan. I think it is just a way, like a playful way to play it off, and like say that, hey, obviously you guys are they're close, right? They're obviously close, and it's funny because it like raised alarm bells when Anika went back. They're like, oh no, are we too close? Are we too out there in the open? And it's like, no, I mean, they can see you guys.
One of the things that is interesting to me is how it doesn't seem anyone's afraid to be paired up and seen as paired up.
Right.
Like, but on multiple tribes. So you see this Sierra and Sam thing. You see this Jen and Rome, the Solomon and Aisha, the Teeny and Keyshawn. Like they're they're not afraid that they're giving their game away 7 days in. That's weird.
I think in tribes of 6, it's very obvious that there's going to be pairs. So there's nothing really to hide.
Not so much on the blue tribe. Like I don't think it is as clear who's actually working with.
I think on Tuku you can see Caroline and Sue.
Yeah, I don't think anybody sees how Gabe fits into any of that.
Correct. Correct.
But that's my point. And the weird and to get deeper, I don't think it is Caroline and Sue. I think it's Sue and Gabe with Caroline. Right? So like it's not actually Caroline and Sue. Like to me, what's going on in the blue tribe is more classic Survivor hiding your relationship. The other ones don't seem to give a crap.
I disagree. I think it's Caroline and Sue, but also Sue and Gabe.
Yeah, this is throwback to season 44, but like right before the merge, the Green Tribe, which was like Danny, Franny, and all those people, they were discussing like who to vote out, and they both said we'd rather go to merge with 2 duos than a duo and like a third and someone on the outs. And I can sort of see the strategy in that. If they make it obvious that this is a voting block that you guys can use, then that could be a benefit to say, hey, I only have to convince one person to get in 2 numbers. Or I can say, hey, there are other obvious duos as well. So maybe me having a duo isn't as threatening. Like I think people know that people have ride or dies in Survivor now. So it's not as big of a threat to just have one because there are different ways that it can be played. That's
so smart, Ryan. I would be scared to have a ride or die.
There's 6 of us out here, man. Like you got to have someone that you trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's why it makes it a little obvious. Because like Sam and Andy are kind of hidden. Sam and Sierra are not.
Yeah. And if you have somebody that clearly trusts you, then that's sort of showing to everybody else, hey, I earned this person's trust. I'm a trustable
person. Yeah, I'm a trustable person. You should trust me too. I agree. We get to where they split up on the journey, and then when they split up, they all have to get to a thing where there's 3 scrolls. 2 of them are lose a vote. 1 of them is an advantage. You have to pick one. You cannot not pick one. If you take a lose a vote, you can go for a second one. Now, this is what I didn't understand. Is your vote restored if you get the advantage?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh, I thought so.
Oh, I thought it wasn't. I think you just have an advantage and no vote. Why not?
I wasn't sure.
No, I thought like you discharge whatever you got previously and you get that next thing.
No, because if you lose your vote again, then you lose it at 2 tribal councils. So why wouldn't you just lose it once and then
get the advantage?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't hear anything that didn't say that. So my default is to go with what it was said, which was I lose a vote. And if there's nothing that says that you don't lose that vote, then my default is that you lost that vote.
Now, let's say they lose both votes. What did you guys think of the fact that Anika and Kyle reach in there, they get the lose a vote, and they don't risk it for a second time?
I have to say that if it's the way Ryan says, then that makes sense. If not, I would have risked it for sure. Mm-hmm. Like you have a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, if it's 50-50 chance of getting your vote back and an advantage, then that sounds worth it.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you? So I think that actually makes me think. You would have what?
Risked it regardless.
Why?
Because, and let me tell you why. If I lost my vote already, I'm already in trouble. I'm going to need an advantage to try to make up for this lost vote. If I lost my vote in two tribals, I need to go and figure out how I can get in socially. Because I know I don't have the next 2 votes.
I think I understand not risking it in Anika's case and less so in Kyle's. For Anika, she at least perceives that she's in a 4-person alliance. They have a clear vote, which is Andy. So if she loses 1 vote, that's Andy going home. That's fine. But if she gets down to 4 and loses another vote, then she doesn't want to be in that situation where there's an obvious duo. And then she's just relying on Rachel to say, hey, flip a tight alliance on each other. Kyle, on the other hand, he just voted on the wrong side of a vote. So he's already at the bottom. He's already out there. So why not risk it even more? If you're already in this like risky position, it's not like you have much more to lose.
Well, 100%. And, you know, it ends up being that the advantage is a steal a vote, which it basically is getting your vote back and nullifying someone else's vote. So that's kind of 2 votes.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It's pretty big. I think Kyle should have risked it. I do not know why he did not.
We actually don't know that they would have gotten all steal votes because in 44, when they did the split path thing, they got like different things. So they pulled it out and did a very similar game.
True.
Well, Rome, luck be a lady tonight. Rome pulled out the steal a vote advantage, and he comes back to the tribe with his pockets just jangling. He got an idol in one pocket, still a vote in another one. He tells the story. Saul and Asia don't believe him immediately. No one believes him actually, because the moment they go on their walk. The moment they go on the walk, Teeny's like, "Hey, so what really happened?" And which means the story was never believable.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. The story was never believable. And they never bought it, even though you thought you did a great job.
Yeah, but this is the moment where Rome earns Teeny's trust. And that locks in them with Keyshawn and Teeny.
Ooh, I think that's a stretch.
I disagree, because before, like, Teeny was like, oh, I don't really trust Rome. I know he's an idol. I know he's the easy vote. We got to get him out. And there's still conceivably planned they could just split votes if he just has one idol that he's playing. They just vote out Genevieve. That's fine. But when Rome says, hey, I showed you one advantage, and now I'm coming to you. I'm showing you a second one. This is building trust between us. Now Teeny's thinking like, okay, this could be good for us. Why would I not want somebody with advantages on my side? Who's clearly showing me that they're going to be doing it in the best interest. They're sharing me all this information. They're going to rope me in with it.
I 100% agree with Ryan. The only caveat is, what if he really isn't as truthful and as loyal as he's showing us to be, right? Because he does have a bit of cockiness. He does have something. Maybe he is like we don't love him. Maybe he's making us feel like we should trust him, but really he's going to fuck us over.
Okay, but the counter argument is the last time he tried lying to Teeny, literally 5 minutes ago when he explained the journey, he didn't get away with it. So if I'm like Teeny and Keyshawn and think, yes, he has these advantages, which could be used to my advantage, and no, he can't get away with lying to me. So why was that necessarily as much of a concern?
Yeah, good point.
I said it was a stretch though, because I don't think that he earned their trust. I think that his pockets are just too full, and they felt up a creek without a paddle. There was no point in resisting, just assimilate, because he has too many things. We can't send him home next because we know for a fact that he has an idol and he's not going home immediately, and he has to play it. There's no option there. And then when you get pressed about the steal a vote, he controls the 5 vote, the vote at 5 as well, because him and Genevieve vote together, and then he takes whoever's vote he wants and sends them home. So
here's the difficult. So I agree with you. Like, it's not about trust. It's about you have to go. You have to play with him.
Yes, we have to.
The question though is, are you stuck with him? Because I would be there thinking, okay, well, I want to work with him because I have no choice. Do we try to get rid of all of these powers somehow and as fast as we possibly can? Or do we want him to hold on to it and not make him play that extra vote so that maybe we could benefit from it in the future? And I think that's the difficult decision for Teeny and Keyshawn going forward.
I think I try to vote him out with it in his hand.
Maybe, but that then means that they have to bring in Saul?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, like right now, I don't see it happening. I
think Saul has a problem with Rome. I don't think Keyshawn, Teeny, or Genevieve have a problem with Saul or Asia. I think the problem was amongst Asia, Saul, and Rome.
I have to say, like, maybe just because we didn't see enough of Saul, period. Like, I have no idea about Saul's relationships with anybody but Asia and Rome, right? Same as Genevieve. And that's the difficult part in trying to analyze this is, okay, let's say they do get rid of Rome. Does that mean Genevieve is off limits to them and she'll be as distrusting as Sue is, or she's in? So like I don't think we actually know what the what the aftermath here is.
Genevieve is the only person in the cast who I feel like we haven't really met yet. Like all the other tribes went to tribal, we met every single person on their tribes. And Genevieve,
we'll talk about it in a second, but we did see in the challenge that at least she's looking under that bench.
yeah, she's made alliances. We know she's searching for stuff, but we don't know anything about her personality. We don't know who she's vibing with. We don't know her takes on the things that are happening. We're missing.
And she's clearly not an idiot. She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's something there. I just want to see more of Genevieve.
Mm-hmm. And she stays, so we'll see more, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, I like how everybody has a rooting interest. Sheldon for the Canadians, Ryan for the
greatest Survivor player of all time, Teeny. Yes.
I'm not rooting for the Canadian just because she's Canadian. I actually think I find her physically and I think captivating. I think she's gorgeous. And she's a lawyer, so that intrigues me too because she's clearly bright. I want more. I want to feel more, see more. That's my interest. Yeah, and she's a Canadian, but I just want more.
So, we get Sam came back. I think Sam Kyle came back and told the complete truth of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Which fits in the demo, and then Anika came and said that she didn't lose her vote, which is she chose not to play. Which wasn't really how the option worked, but we'll see how that works out for her.
Well, she then immediately told Sierra and Rachel, who I think told Sam. So I think everybody knows, except for probably Andy, that she doesn't have a vote.
Correct.
And when or if Sierra and Sam decide whether or not they're going to keep Andy or keep Anika, that's going to be when Andy finds out, is when they're deciding, hey, we need your vote or not.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's the journeys are always interesting because of what happens when you come out of them, right? But now we've moved on to the challenge itself, seahorsing around.
Is that what it's actually called?
Nah, but there was a seahorse. Seahorsing around. We see that. This is one of my favorite parts.
Brian, have you printed any puzzles? I feel like you would have.
Maybe.
Yeah. Ryan definitely has. One of my favorite things was that when Rome goes to the journey and Kyle's like, TK went home. He's like, oh, I was so happy for that dude to go. He was so arrogant. I was like, pot? Kettle?
Black? That came off wrong.
I was like, that's an interesting thing for him to be so excited about. But okay, cool. But we see here at the challenge, Rome is adamant about whatever the part he wants to do in the challenge. Adamant. Will not back down, will not take no, even though they're trying to strategize.
Mm-hmm. And Saul's like, I was a beast at the last challenge. I can do this one. And I think we're seeing what happened with the rock, paper, scissors game is Rome does not let anybody else decide but Rome.
Well, what was it interesting to me about this is that we didn't see the aftermath in this episode. So it leads me to suggest that we are going to see an aftermath of this in 2, 3, 4 rounds from now. Mm-hmm. Because I thought that's it. Rome's going to this is what's going to fuck Rome's game up. Or something's about to happen. Because they never give us that level of strategy, which was really cool to see. I love watching them actually try to figure out, well, what should we do? Do we do this? Do I do this? It was I feel like this is Survivor behind the scenes. Give me more.
I loved it because Saul was like, I can do every part of this challenge. And then Rome was like, no, I got this. And then Keyshawn was like, I can't swim, so put me in. And then meanwhile, Genevieve, who's probably great at puzzles, great at swimming, is just sitting on the sidelines like, go team.
Yeah.
This is the best strategy we could have done.
I'm sorry. I would have sat Teeny, not Genevieve. What was that? I don't get that.
I don't remember who sat at the last challenge. So Asia did. Okay. Yeah.
The challenge itself, a bit of a shit show for Lavo. But Andy kept falling in the water, but then they ended up pulling it out and winning. Mm-hmm. The Gotta Tribe. Rome did his part. I gotta say, Rome went quick.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to, but he did.
Greatest Survivor player, Teeny, seemed to be struggling a little bit. I'm just saying, Ryan.
Okay, so Teeny is a social beast, but a challenge least. And I will say that as much as I love them, when I played a game with Teeny, the only reason my tree never went to tribal was because Teeny's tribe lost every single challenge. So challenges is not Teeny's strong suit.
This makes sense. This makes sense because Teeny kept falling in and kept just grazing the water, just grazing the water, which was too much. You couldn't do that. Couldn't touch it at all.
I didn't know that was the rule in these games. You can't like even touch the water.
Correct.
Well, if you're doing like a balance beam over land, if your foot touches the surface that is not balance beam,
I would not be able to pass. I would not be able to pass this. Like
you can crawl too. Those are options.
That wouldn't work either. Like, was this the one that Sari had a problem with? Was this it?
Yeah.
Like I would have been Sari.
One thing I think is interesting is because like the balance beam, if you just go slow, you'll be able to make it.
I think I have to go fast for any real chance.
But while you're going fast, pause, untie the buoy, and then keep going.
There's no chance I'm untying any buoy. I'm the first one in. I gotta
get the challenge ends up being beasted by Gata, and then Tuku comes up next, even though they had the lead going into the puzzle. Even on the mat, Asia and Keyshawn were doing it, and Rome was getting frustrated watching them put together the puzzle, even though they were miles behind.
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing a lot of character moments from Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But not character development.
Not all of them always good.
But is that because this cast, sorry guys, is a flop?
No, it's because it's the greatest cast ever.
I don't actually
I think this cast is pretty good.
I don't know about that, guys. Like I don't feel compared to a lot of the others, casts of the new.
What did you think of Carolyn on season 44?
But Rome isn't Carolyn. Like,
what did you think of Carolyn? Did you love Carolyn?
Adore.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of Gabler?
Disgusting.
There's some people out here that resonate with people. Some people that don't. I like this cast. I think this cast is a well-rounded cast of people that are really knowledgeable about the game and are trying to make the best moves possible and using what they've seen before to try to gauge what they're doing now.
I think they're strategic in their playing, Kevin. I just think they're boring.
I disagree with that. But I think one interesting thing about these tribes is you have one person who's like socially is not starting on the best foot, and then we're seeing, are they staying that way or are they developing? So like Rome is rubbing people the wrong way, but he's staying that way. Whereas Andy he had a panic attack on the very first episode. And then now you're seeing him start to pick up the pieces from what was a shattered game. You're seeing him do that cool thing where he gives Sierra the shot in the dark. And Sierra's like, okay, this is actually really cool. Now we can start working with each other. So you're seeing who is developing and growing from the experience versus who is like staying strong through it. And I think that is one of my favorite parts of Survivor to watch, actually, is personal growth.
I don't care about personal growth. I'm here for the game. Truly.
Ryan, what type of personal growth would you have? You seem like fully grown to me.
I would grow 5 inches.
Wow. Okay. MC's on the island with you.
I'd missed that comment, but I assume it's funny and I'll ignore it.
I just think that the cast itself, we are getting some good players, and they're trying to make sure the strategy is shown through.
Yep.
And so we get Lavo losing. Let's talk about this vote, because this is Teeny's big blunder. Teeny's tiny big blunder here.
I don't know.
You may disagree. Let me tell you why I think this is Teeny's big blunder.
Fair.
Asia and Soul want to work with Teeny and Kishana. Teeny and Kishana were in the middle, in my opinion. For Rome, Genevieve, Soul Asia situation.
Yeah.
Teeny has all the information from Rome, but Rome is chaotic. Asia is more neutral and controlled. I personally like to play with, and I've played online games with the both of you. I like to play with more controlled players.
So Ryan.
Not chaos players like Ryan. You know what I'm saying? And so like the chaos is good for the person creating the chaos, but it's not good for those that are trying to live in the orbit. And the way Rome is playing, it's chaotic. You know everything Rome has. You know Soul, you know Saul's and Asia's presence on this tribe. So those two working with you and Kashan puts Rome at a 4 versus 1 situation. It pushes him against the wall if you take out Genevieve, because you know Genevieve is not who the vote is going. You know that he's not using Nile on Genevieve.
So the reason why I kind of disagree with that is sure, Asia and Soul are more controlled players. Rome is a more controllable player. So you saw Teeny try to talk to Asia and said, hey, would you vote Saul? And Asia was like, nah, I'm not budging. I'm going to vote how I want to vote. Whereas when Rome was like, we need to get out Asia, Teeny said, vote out Saul. And Rome was like, oh yeah, you're so right. So true, bestie. Why did I think that was basically my own idea that you just told me to do? So although, yes, Rome is messy, and we can see that maybe building problems later on when you're trying to make new connections. Rome, at the end of the day, Keyshawn and Teeny are going to say, hey, Rome, do this, and it's totally your idea. And Rome's going to go, yeah, I'm so smart.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with Ryan, Kevin. I don't know what you're thinking. And really simply, this isn't Teeny's big blunder. This is, to me, Aisha's big blunder. Okay? Aisha shot herself in the foot. I think Saul was going home. I don't think Genevieve was going home. I think it was always between the two of them. Because, as Ryan said, Mr. Rome is controllable and has powers that they could control. I think Aisha was like a doctor who comes into a hospital as a patient. They are the worst patients. Aisha's a great survivor analyst. I respect her a lot. I like her takes. She clearly did not read the room right. She was not a good player because Teeny was laying everything in front of her to say, oh, okay, so one of the two of us are going home. I need to actually come with you down this path because it's either me or Saul. Let's go. And not only let me finish. Not only did she pick up what was given, she was so adamant against it, and she read her relationship wrong with Teeny and Kishan that I think she ruined her own game.
This is where I push back, though. If we say we're working together,
yeah,
and the four of us are working together, and you're telling me that confirmed Rome has an idol, I thought we were working together. We have the numbers. We are the numbers. So I hear that Rome wants Saul. I'm not really down with Saul going for obvious reasons. We are the numbers.
Yeah, and if it's 6 people, if Alliance of 4, they could say, okay, me and Saul are going to vote for Genevieve. You 2 vote for Rome. Split the votes. That's an equally valid strategy.
Except that, yes, 100% right. But she doesn't know they have the numbers. Why? They haven't been to tribal yet. They haven't had the ability to actually prove anything to one another.
But that's the point.
Making an assumption.
No, not an assumption. Even at tribal, her last words are, if those that are voting for me are what we're doing, we're still doing the thing we're doing.
No.
Because as far as she understands, we're together. Teeny came to her and said, you're good. When she went off to go do the thing. She's been strategizing with Teeny for 7 days at this point.
Asia's smart. Like, you can tell when they're at tribal council, she is picking up all the signals. She's getting the vibe is off.
Yep.
And she's just trying to figure out, how can I stay afloat?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily social game or connections that are driving the alliances.
No,
What
it's
she's
Rome.
missing is the things that she doesn't see, which is the advantages in Rome's pocket.
Correct. It's the things that she cannot control, which are the advantages.
No,
She's
you're right. But the problem was, it was never Genevieve going home. It was always Aisha or Saul. And by Aisha pushing back, basically she ruined her own game because Saul.
We don't know that though.
Yeah, we do.
What I mean, no. We don't know that Teeny and Kashan could have agreed to Genevieve.
But they weren't. They weren't going to.
But that's the thing. Like Ryan just said, the thing that outdid her wasn't her connection. Like she didn't misread that Teeny had a better connection to Rome. No. She misread that Rome had more guns.
No, but what she misread was that Teeny was putting it down in front of her, giving her big signals. Hey, it might not go your two ways.
Sheldon, I have to stop you there because definitely Teeny reassured Asia that she's fine. She had to have.
Wow.
She had to have. That's how you play the game. You tell them they're okay, and then you slit their throat. So if we saw this clip right here where she's like, "It's going to be this," Asia pushed back, and then we cut away. There has to be a point where Teeny's like, "You know what? You're right. We're going to do that." And then Teeny's confessional, Teeny says.
But that was the point she pushed away. That was the point that Teeny flipped. That was the point where Kishan flipped. It was when they came to Aisha and said, hey, dangerous things are going to happen. We have to think about Saul. And not only did she say no, she said, no, we got to do Jen. Like there was no playing with her. She was so
that's why I have to I keep pushing back because you're saying there was no playing with her. From everything she saw,
she didn't want to change her mind.
The strategy was sound.
Okay, but
they're a pair. We don't like Rome. Let's cut Rome's buddy out.
But the pair that makes up a clear four was clearly telling her, no, this isn't going to happen. So you either come along with us or it's you. And it ended up being her.
I want to give some credit to Kishan over here because I think he's really thriving as a strategic player over here.
Yes, agreed.
Like, Teeny is a very social player and can make very good social connections, but at the end of the day, the person that Teeny needs to balance herself is with somebody really strategic, and I think Kishan is that person. Agreed. You see him like breaking down the relationship, saying, okay, we're seeing Asia and Saul, here's the benefits to one, here's the benefits for the other. I thought at Tribal Council, he had a brilliant performance. He said, hey guys, Core 4 Alliance, that could easily apply to both groups. So he's able to be openly strategic and still kind of comforting it the same way. And I think he had a much larger part of deciding this vote than we actually get to see.
Yeah. Well, we will too, Kevin. Agree to disagree. Again, I really like Aisha. I really, and I'm sad that she's gone. And she's the reason why I would love like an Exile Island, or I would love another chance. I would love redemption because I think that she could be a really good player. I believe she read the room wrong.
I think she is a really good player, and it's just not her season. That's
what it is. Why I'm pushing back, and I'm frustrated here because you said that I feel like you cannot say someone's a bad player from a clip.
Well, no, I could say somebody's a bad player because she was third out, right?
No, that doesn't make you a bad player either.
Okay, but here's the thing: we are not playing a full season of the NHL hockey. You have to think about this as the final round of the playoffs every single week. In this year, she was not a good player. Could she come back and kill it? I actually think she would.
Sheldon, did the Leafs win the cup?
Yes.
Did the Leafs win the cup?
Yeah, 1967.
No, this year. This past year. Were they in the playoffs?
Yes.
They lost in the playoffs. Did that make them a bad team?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes. Yes. But I'm a Leafs fan. Yes.
So every year they don't win the cup, they're a bad team?
They're a bad team that can't seal the deal. And if we're using that analogy, we're not even in the merge. She didn't make
playoffs.
Is the
merge.
like she didn't even come close to the merge.
This is what I'm saying. Look, there are circumstances out of your control, right? And this is huge to me. You two have known me for years now.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of advantages.
Yeah.
Because advantages change the math.
Me too.
They change the math, and they change the math into a manner that you can't control. Rome's relationship with Teeny and Kashan, hold on. Rome's relationship with Teeny and Kashan was not built on the social connection. It was built purely on the advantages he has.
You and I are on the same page, Kevin, 100%. I believe Survivor is a better game without a lot of advantages.
So, since that's the case, it's hard to say, as I'm pushing back, you say she's a bad player, because if I'm reading my relationship with Teeny right, we have a good connection. That was true. What was also true was that Rome had the nuts. He had a pocket pair. There was nothing else on the board. That was the nuts. I did not see that. I can't see that. I had no clue, because as I'm reading the relationship, our relationship is stronger.
Okay,
yes.
But counter argument, everybody saw Rome looking, and they're like, guys, Rome's looking, and then nobody else looked. Like,
no,
they had the opportunity to see someone looking for stuff and say, maybe I could get the idol before he does. I see how he's searching. Maybe that's the clue. Maybe that's what I should do. And instead, they watch him stick out of the well and do nothing about it.
And that's what I'm not talking about, because I know that you're not Asia knows Rome has an idol for tonight. Asia knew Rome had an idol.
They all did.
Right. So, which is why Asia's strategy is, let's take out his friend. Mm-hmm. Because we don't like this dude. We're going to cripple his friend.
Yeah, but Asia's strategy was clearly wrong, because she didn't have enough people on her side to make that happen. Like, all I'm saying, I'm not saying she's a horrific player. I'm saying she played. Maybe I did, but I don't think she's. I actually would love to see her. I'm actually disappointed she's gone. I really like her. I think she's cool.
And that's the part that you said she's a bad player. And I'm saying,
I think she played okay. Maybe she's not a bad player. I think she played a bad game. I think she had a chance to win, to actually move on to the next tribal, to maybe lose this round, but potentially win the war, lose this battle, but win the war. That's my argument. I think she fucked up her own game. Like, it happens. We've all played games and we've been first, second, third out, and we've all had games where we go to the end and win or lose. It happens, right? Like, I don't think she played a good game. That's it. I feel bad. I wish she did.
Her not playing a good game is understandable. Her being a bad player, I think she was reading things as you should read them. And that's where I've been pushing back on, is that she was a bad player.
But she wasn't reading them as she should read them, because she thought that she had Kishan and Teeny like completely working with her, and clearly that wasn't true. So she read the room wrong.
Well, on a social level, I think she was right. Like, Teeny and Asia, I think, had a really close social connection. You saw like Teeny basically cry in the voting booth. So
yeah, but like, look, I agree with that, Ryan. I think you're right. I think they preferred her over Rome, without a doubt. I would have preferred her over Rome 1,000%, and probably want to go to the end with her. Like I think she's an asset 100%, but she still read the room wrong. They didn't do what she needed to do to stay in the game, and she is not pre-merge. She isn't post. She isn't right before the merge. She isn't in the merge. She's third out. That's not a good placing.
But this is also like one of the reasons why I love where the new era Survivor is going, in the sense where you see these people make these super tight, really real, really personal connections, and then say, game, cut that. But then you also see it the other way, where this is the best game strategy, but this is like my person, and maybe I need to like cut out that game thing for that personal move, and that personal move becomes a game move. Where this game of Survivor has become so much more complex, and I am here for every second of it.
Well, it's become more variable. And as a player who is closer to Kevin, in the fact that we are probably closer to an Aisha Sol, we are calm, solid, make those social relationships, and not you, Ryan. Like this is actually a scary game for me, because you never know what's going to happen. The ability to control has been lessened. Whereas for you, you thrive in havoc, you thrive in mess. In fact, you win in mess. Right? And this would be wonderful for you, which is why Ryan should be cast in Survivor 49.
Did you hear that, Jesse?
So, with all that being said, you guys think this was a good move by Teeny?
I don't think it was a good move. I think it was the move she made.
I think it was a good move because now she has an alliance of 4 and 2 advantages on her side.
One advantage. One advantage.
Oh, yeah, one now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, by the way, I'm not sure I would have made that move. I would have gotten rid of Saul and kept Genevieve and Rome and had Aisha in my back pocket. That's the move I would have made. But hey, who am I? I'm not them.
So you guys disagree that it was a big blunder. I think it was. Either way, we are on to the next. Rome is flying high.
Yep.
Our boy Rome flying high.
Will Rome fall? That's the question.
Rome didn't fall in a day. You know what I'm saying?
It won't. It won't.
And I think that this one's going to also be the same. Rome is currently the person that has the complete control with one additional person's vote on who goes home next. We see in the preview, he's a little bit mean to Saul because he ain't got to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're right. And like Genevieve is not going to flip, right? And like nothing's going to happen. I think Rome's got full control here.
Well, Tini Kashan can also say, hey, Rome's being kind of an ass, but he trusts us. So let's make a 3 with Saul and then vote them out. It's not like Saul's going to say, hey, Rome, you're being an asshole to me. Let's make an alliance.
But Ryan, there is no 3 with Saul if Rome has the ability to take Saul's vote. That's the problem. Rome has all the power. That's
only if Rome plays it, though. If Keyshawn and Tina are like, hey, we're good. We have 4. True. We don't need to put... We don't need like 5 votes on Saul. True. We don't need that. So let's just vote 4, let him vote whoever, and then we'll actually just blindside you instead.
Yeah.
True.
So Rome might fall in a day. Find out next week on Survivor.
So with all those things being said, on each tribe, I want you guys to each tell me who you think has the best chance of winning from each tribe.
Oh. Ryan, you want to go first because you're smarter than me?
So Teeny is winning the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So you have Teeny from the Lavo tribe.
From yellow, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Sierra.
Okay.
Because I think if one of the first people get the pair gets targeted first, it's going to be Sam, and then she can be more of a free agent after that. And then for Blue Tribe is tricky. I'm actually gonna say,
Blue Tribe is the hardest one.
I'm gonna go Tiana. No. I'm gonna scratch that. I'm gonna do a hot take. I'm gonna do Gabe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on board with you for the yellow tribe. I think it's Sierra, although I don't think she's the best player in the game, but I think she's good enough to get farther along in the game. I would switch Teeny with Keyshawn. I think he is a really good all-around player. And I find it very hard to choose Blue, and I'm going to probably say Tiana.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Lavo, I think Keyshawn is playing a really good game and seems to have a really good head on his shoulders. So I think Keyshawn's the best bet. I think on the Blue Tribe, I think Kyle is actually going to be fine and has a good shot here. I think that they can move the vote in this situation, and I think he's going to be okay. And then I think he has a good chance to win. And then I think on the Yellow Tribe, I really like Sam's odds. Sam's odds feel like they're strong to me.
I will just be different. I'm going to switch my yellow answer to Rachel.
I like Rachel too.
Yeah, I was torn between her and Sierra, and because Sheldon's also doing Sierra, I think Anika gets targeted before Rachel. Rachel makes it to merge, and then she can say, hey, let's figure some shit out. And I think she's smart enough to do it.
It's going to be a fun episode next week. We're going to be back next Thursday, breaking down everything that went down in the Survivor game. Thank you guys for joining us. Coming to you from outside the Big Brother house. Or outside the island, I guess. Back at home. Cast Ryan. Don't, you cowards. Cast Ryan on Survivor. Okay? Cass, Ryan on Survivor, you cowards. Coming to you from the show. Good night.
Good night.